Welcome back to Second and Short. It is Friday, September 15th, 2023. I'm here with a sick and frustrated Mr. Luke Morozic, but nonetheless, we've got a fantastic episode ahead of us. And before we even start talking about it, let's fucking go. Atlanta Braves clinched the NL East for the sixth season in a row. These boys right here, right there, and right here. The A is thriving right now, let me tell you. And I'll talk plenty more about it when we get to the MLB. But I just want to congratulate my boys, making me so proud.
In Philadelphia too.
Oh yeah,
Damn.
and the fucking Philly put it up on the scoreboard, congratulating us.
Yep.
Oh, tough
Beta.
scenes. Then again,
Beta.
they're like number one in the wild card, so
By
they're
a
fine.
lot too, right?
Oh yeah. Actually, I think the Cubs kind of pulled it back a little bit now that we took 3 out of 4 on the Phillies, but
Okay.
all of that is a conversation for later, because we're gonna start it off on the an NFL weekend preview, and then we'll
Yes.
hit the MLB recap, talk about the playoff picture a little bit. Then we'll get into the Premier League because it's all back this weekend after the international break. And then the Champions League group stages. Match week 1 starts up next week. I believe it's Tuesday and Wednesday. Could be Wednesday and Thursday. I can't remember. But we'll round it out with questions time, and then we'll be out of here, and everybody can enjoy their weekend.
Heck yeah. Let's get into it, man.
All right, let's start in the NFL. Our first traditional NFL weekend preview. If you've missed these,
Yes.
we pick a couple of games every week, and we just talk about the matchup, talk about who we think's going to win, and give you all the insight that we have into what's going on in these games. So we decided Ravens-Bengals is probably a good one to talk about. I'm sure you have a hate-fueled discussion to have against both of these teams, most likely. But the Ravens versus the Bengals, it's in Cincinnati. Bengals a 3.5-point favorite. The over-under is 46. I'm going to let you get it started, but this is going to be an interesting one.
I honestly think the Bengals could not have been set up worse. Maybe if they played better against the Browns, I would be a little bit more confident in the Bengals' ability, but back-to-back AFC North games, and especially with taking how you looked week 1 against the Browns, it's looking tough for them week 2.
Oh, yeah. This is a get-right game for Joe Burrow and the Bengals in general. Last week, something was certainly missing with this offensive game plan, and part of that due to the weather, but Burrow just wouldn't throw over the middle. I looked at the charts on the NFL Next Gen stats, and when it comes down to it, he has to throw over the middle. This whole game was clogged with passes to the sidelines. Chase and Higgins lined up on the outside. T. Higgins caught 0 passes, and Jamar Chase had one of the worst games of his career. And I don't know why you're forcing the ball to the outside when you have 2 very good coverage corners on the other side in Denzel Ward and Greg Newsome. And when we look back to Burrow last year, some of his best performances was when he completed a majority of his passes over the middle. I think this is something that people don't think about is a QB spray chart and how that affects how they play the game. But last year, week 13, one of the best examples I could find, he passed. So when he was throwing past 5 yards, so past a 5-yard completion, he was 9 for 11 passing when throwing over the middle. When he was throwing past 5 yards to the sidelines, he was 4 for 7. That was against the Kansas City Chiefs, your eventual Super Bowl winners. Burrow had a fantastic week that week against a team that obviously they've beaten plenty of times in the past, but ended up facing in the playoffs, didn't go right. But you look at last week, he passed, so when he throws past 5 yards over the middle, he was 2 for 3. He attempted 3 passes to what I would consider the middle of the field. And when he was throwing past 5 yards to the sidelines, he was 4 for 15. That's just not going to get it done. Throwing to the sideline against good defensive backs in the rain is so limiting to your very talented wide receivers, and they've got to clean that up this week.
Yeah. You know what, though? I'm gonna go to the other side of the ball, though. I don't really think Cincinnati is getting enough credit defensively of how well they played against Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson went 16 for 29, 154 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Of course, the Browns did rush for like 206 yards, which is absolutely absurd. Most notable, Deshaun Watson had 45 and a touchdown. Chubb had 106 on 18 attempts. So, I mean, Cincinnati's defense did not look too bad. It was just like nothing offensively. And I mean, Burrow had a really bizarre game too. I kind of want to highlight his stats as well. He went 14 of 31, 82 yards, and only got sacked twice, didn't throw a pick and didn't throw a touchdown, which is kind of bizarre.
Yeah.
You're almost like, where did the mistakes even come from? And I think you kind of highlighted it there. He wasn't really throwing to his spot on the field. And man, it hurt him. They looked terrible.
Yeah, they looked brutal. But I will say the Ravens, their defense looked pretty good last week against a young Texans team that has some firepower on both sides of the ball. You have good young players, but you have a decent veteran presence there, especially on the offense. Like you have Laramie Tunsil and Dalton Schultz there, and then you throw in some guys that have been around the league a little bit, guys like Nico Collins, who was in his first couple of years, but then a true rookie quarterback making his first start in CJ Stroud. And yes, he struggled, but he didn't have a bad game by any means. And that kind of surprises me, but the Ravens still played a good game. But the offense was kind of weird, and I think a lot of people were questioning why it seemed like Lamar couldn't get it going, why some things just didn't seem successful. And I think it's just that they have a very new look offense. They have a new offensive coordinator. They have like a brand new wide receiver core with Odell and Zay Flowers, but Lamar like just didn't seem right. Like he wasn't inaccurate. 17 for 22 isn't bad at all. I think what was missing was Lamar's legs. Only 6 carries for 38 yards. Now, J.K. Dobbins is going to be out this coming week and for the rest of the season. I'm just questioning, like, what happens to this offense if Lamar's not looking to run as much?
That's a great point, but I wanted to highlight something, and once again, it pains me to come to the aid of these fucking teams, man. But they didn't have Mark Andrews, and I think that may be a big reason of why Lamar's yardage was so short. Or he only passed for like 169 yards, sacked 4 times, didn't throw a touchdown, and like you said, his legs were also kind of not really there as well. But how about Zay Flowers? What a debut. 9 receptions, 78 yards. He looked absolutely incredible. He blew my expectations out of the water, and he looks much better than OBJ.
Yeah. Like, I heard
So,
people on TV trying to compliment Odell Beckham, being like, yeah, he drew a pass interference. It's like, come on. Just
oh,
be okay saying that he didn't have a good game. He's not a premier wide receiver in the NFL. And that Zay Flowers is going to be wide receiver 1, like bona fide on this lineup come like week 4.
oh yeah. Oh yeah, 100%.
Anything else you want to touch kind of on this matchup?
Baltimore kind of made Damian Pierce look sorry
Yeah,
in that game. Really, the whole run game in general.
they did a great job run defense wise, and I think people just kind of forget how good of players are on this Ravens defense. Like, I think we all respect their defense. We know it's very good. But like when you really look at this team and like what like kind of firepower they have on the defense, like it kind of surprised me even when I looked at it. Like you have guys like the young Kyle Hamilton at strong safety. You have Marlon Humphrey and Rock Yassin, who's a pretty solid kind of like surprise corner. And then you have David Ajabo, Patrick Queen, Roquan Smith, and Odafe Owe in the linebacker core, and they are all very good. I don't get what some people have missed with this defense, but it's genuinely a top-tier defense, and that's why I think the Texans really couldn't get anything going last week.
Yeah, and 2 guys you didn't mention, Marcus Williams is back there at free safety with Kyle Hamilton, which is just an unfair safety pairing. On top of that, they added Jadeveon Clowney in the free agency.
Yeah.
Whether you think he's washed or not, that's a guy I would like to have on my team.
Oh, 100%.
So
Yeah.
Baltimore's defense is still scary. Once Mark Andrews comes back, they're going to be a playoff team 100%.
Oh, yeah, 100% they will. But when it comes down to this matchup, like, how do the Ravens play against the Bengals, I kind of see it similar to the Browns. Like the Browns defense plays pretty physical, though maybe the Ravens don't have as strong of a pass rush, but I think the conditions will kind of be a little bit better in both teams' favors. But I think for me, it just seems like the Bengals should bounce back. Like it seems like that is what's going to happen, and that's what should happen here.
I I don't know. Maybe it's just because I'm not a fan of Pretty Boy Burrow. I'm gonna I'm gonna take Baltimore again in this one. I'm not saying that Cincinnati can't bounce back. I just think they're coming up against a team that isn't going to care whether they're ready to play or not.
Yeah.
Simple as that. The Ravens are going to show up no matter what. I'm going to take a low scoring game though, but Baltimore's going to have it.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna take the Bengals, but I'm gonna go like probably something close, probably like a 27-24 type win.
I'm going to go 17-10 Ravens.
All right. Well, let's talk this one. Chiefs Jags, a matchup we saw last year in the playoffs that they played super close. But for both of these teams, it seems like quite a few things have changed. The Chiefs, the offensive line has definitely changed. They pulled an offensive lineman straight from the Jags in the offseason, but Kelsey is not 100%. I still don't even know if he's going to play. We will have Chris Jones this week, but when you look at last week, missing Kelsey and Chris Jones was deadly to that team. Like, it absolutely killed them. Jones is back. Kelsey's a possibility, but that doesn't fill the holes between the hands of their wide receivers.
Not at all.
A 13.5% a 13.5% drop percentage last week. Last season, all year, they had a 4.5% drop percentage as a wide receiver core. And
thank you, Kadarius Toney.
Yeah, and Sky Moore dropping all 3 of his targets. But look, if Kelsey's in, that cuts down the drops, the offense will be fine. The defense,
Yeah.
even with Chris Jones, might still be in trouble because the Jags offense is crazy good. Calvin Ridley is a straight up number one wide receiver in this league. He was insane last week. 8 receptions, 101, 1 touchdown, and I don't even think they had to throw to him in the second half.
No, not at all, because you got guys like Zay Jones and Ingram that are there to pick up whatever he can't do.
Yeah.
They're very underrated and very scary.
Yeah, and Trevor was great as well. 24 for 32, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Could have used a little bit of help on the offensive line, but it was still pretty good. And then their defense was pretty good. Like, it wasn't great against the Colts. Anthony Richardson had a pretty good game against this Jags defense, and I think that's going to be a trend. I don't think this Jags defense is quite at that level to make them a strong contender, at least at the moment. At least what we saw in week 1. I don't like what I saw. But, of course, they have a quarterback, and like, they get to the quarterback because that offensive line kind of sucks, outside of Quentin Nelson, and they had a rookie quarterback that likes to move. So it's going to be kind of hard. Obviously, they're still going to get to him, but I think things change this week. The Chiefs is kind of a whole nother monster because if you couldn't shut down Richardson, what tells you they can shut down Mahomes?
And I exactly have that in my notes as well. I feel like maybe I was a little bit too harsh on Anthony Richardson come draft time. He blew my expectations out of the water, just like Zay Flowers did. I think, with the way the Jags played Anthony Richardson, it's setting up a massive game for Mahomes.
Yeah, agreed.
Yep. Another thing I wanted to highlight, though, going back to the Chiefs' offense, is their run game may have been like one of the worst run games in all of week 1, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Holmes was their leading rusher with 6 carries and 45 yards. There was only 14 carries between their 2 running backs, Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Pacheco. Only 45 yards and 14 carries between those 2 guys. They only tied Mahomes, who had 6 carries. That is horrible. Absolutely horrible. And I think that's where they're really going to struggle. And, even with what we said about the Jags defense and how they kind of let Anthony Richardson do whatever they want, Mahomes might be set up for a big game, but he still may not have Kelsey. So there's a lot of gray area, I feel like, with this game still with the Chiefs.
Yeah, I definitely agree, and I think that contributes to why the line is set at Chiefs -3. Typically, the Chiefs are going to be more than a 3-point favorite over a majority of teams. This is kind of a worse Chiefs team than we saw last year, and a much better Jags team than we saw last year, at least on the offensive side. That pushes that line closer. Over under's 51. So they don't think the defenses are going to be a big part of this game cuz, with 51, you're looking at like a 28-23 type game. And I definitely see that happening. I see that being a likely score. So I'm going to go 23-24, or sorry, 28-24, and I'm going to take the Chiefs.
I like that, but you know what? I think I'm going to go again with the upset. I think the Chiefs are going to be 0-2 after week 2 because the Jacksonville Jaguars offensively, if they play it right, they can easily keep the Chiefs offense off the field for a very long time. Like we already said, Calvin Ridley plus Zay Jones and Evan Ingram to kind of help out, the load with Calvin Ridley, of course. And then Travis Etienne, who only had 18 carries last week, but still had 97 yards and a touchdown, plus 5 receptions, 27 yards. If Jacksonville uses their weapons correctly and keeps the Chiefs' offense off the field, the Chiefs could have a long night.
Yeah, definitely. I'm gonna go ahead and just put out. I'm taking a provisional on this. If Kelsey's in, my score stands. If Kelsey's not playing, you can give me the Jags, 31-17.
Wow. um, let's see. I need a score now. I'm gonna go Jags 31, Chiefs 28.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Well, let's go over to California then. Rams, 49ers. This one's at the Rams. 49ers, an 8-point favorite in this one. Over under set at 44.5. And I'm going to let you take the lead because the 49ers shut down your Steelers last week.
I don't want to talk about the 49ers.
Are you striking?
I'm striking. They're probably the best team in the NFC after week 1. Yeah. They beat the Steelers. However you feel about the Steelers, I don't care. They absolutely steamrolled my team. I would have liked to have seen the 49ers pass the ball more, honestly. Kittle and McCaffrey only had 3 receptions. Debo had 5. Brandon Ayuk was Jerry Rice. I mean, that was ridiculous.
Crazy.
But, in saying that, though, maybe you don't have to pass that much if Christian McCaffrey has that good of a game and your defense is that good. So maybe it's fine. But I would just like to see, your best players get more involved, I guess. Defensively, you had 5 sacks and 2 interceptions. Fred Warner was absolutely ridiculous. And Jake Moody, the second-round kicker out of Michigan, looked really good as well.
Definitely.
So the 49ers all around look like probably the best team in the NFL right now.
Who would have guessed? The 49ers defense is great.
Right?
All they did was improve. Yes, they lost Jimmy Ward. They add Javon Hargrave on the defensive line. They add Clelin Ferrell on the defensive line. These guys are crazy. And they were all over the Steelers, and especially Kenny Pickett last week. Advanced stats time, average separation from quarterback. It's back. I love this stat so much. The league average in the NFL is a 4.57 yards of average separation from the quarterback at the time of the pass or sack. Nick Bosa had the worst on the 49ers with a 4.03.
That's because they had Darnell on them.
Yeah, and that's 0.5 yards. That's half a yard better than league average. Eric Armstead, a 3.98. Javon Hargrave, a 3.78. And Clelin Ferrell on the blind side, a 3.74.
Yeah, so as a Steelers fan, that's exactly what you want from your offensive line. That's how you win football games. Not how you win football games.
Yeah, they straight up scared the Steelers away from running the ball.
Literally.
In what world does Najee Harris have 6 carries and Jalen Warren has 3? It's crazy. And
I don't know.
The problem with the 49ers is that it's not just the defense. The offense was so good, like you pointed out. Like Purdy, maybe he didn't throw the ball a lot. That looked like a textbook Brock Purdy performance. 2
Oh yeah,
touchdowns, 0 interceptions, like just above 200 yards. That's his game every week.
the
McCaffrey,
epitome of doing exactly what you need to do.
yes.
Nothing elite, just what you need to do
Yeah.
to win. That's
The
Brock Purdy.
he is the best system quarterback there is.
Yes.
But McCaffrey, insane as usual, 22 carries, 152, 1 touchdown. Ayuk, unstoppable, 8 for 8 on targets, 129, 2 touchdowns. But I got to give it to the Rams because they really surprised me. They
Oh
were
yeah.
levels ahead of what I thought they would be going into last week. And the Seahawks are a good team. The team they played was a good team with good players all over the field on both sides of the ball. The Rams absolutely bitched the Seahawks in that second half. Like, it is hard for me to even try and root against a Rams team that was almost perfect on offense without Cooper Kupp. You had Puka get like 119 yards. Tutu Atwell had 119 yards as well, like the same
Who are these people?
out of nowhere, straight up out of nowhere. Like, how is this offense good without Cooper Kupp? I couldn't tell you, but the offensive line looked fantastic. Aaron Donald had Geno Smith yelling, "Oh my God," as he ran at him.
I
Like,
forgot about that.
yeah, it was ridiculous what the Rams did to a high-powered Seahawks team on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, and Matthew Stafford, what a comeback game.
Yeah.
24 for 38, 344 yards. He didn't have a touchdown. He didn't have a pick. I mean, that's still a really good game from Matthew Stafford. The Rams really couldn't run the ball at all, though. 40 attempts between all their backs, only 92 yards. They averaged like 2.3 a carry, which is pretty bad. But when you have Tutu Atwell and Puka Nakua out there who are just, like, it makes me giggle. Who are these people?
Yeah.
Who are these people accounting for 240 yards? Insane.
Doesn't matter. Sean McVay knows
Insane.
what's up. But
He does.
the problem is that the 49ers are world beaters. This defense will eat them alive. I don't care what they looked like last week. This defense is crazy, and the offense is just going to put up somewhere from 24 to 38 points every week.
It'll be interesting, though. Of course, I'm not expecting much, but it will be interesting to see how a veteran quarterback, Matthew Stafford, can handle the defense.
Yeah. I don't know. You know, a veteran or not, it's hard to do anything against them.
Very true.
Um,
Very, very true.
so yeah, I'm looking at like 49ers 28, Rams 20.
20.
Yeah.
I'm going to go like 24 to 7. 49ers.
Damn.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's look at the other matchups for the rest of this week and just kind of give a few thoughts. So right now we have Eagles Vikings going on as we're recording. Beginning of the fourth quarter, Eagles up 27-14. I haven't gotten a chance to watch a lot of this game, but it seems like the Eagles just cannot establish the passing game. At least in the first quarter, the first half, they really couldn't. Jalen Hurts only at 21 attempts going into the fourth quarter. He's got 181 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. DeAndre Swift is having an absolute fucking game.
No.
It is crazy. 18 carries, 107 yards for the guy who I'm pretty sure had like 3 carries last week.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
how?
He's doing this all on my bench
carry.
right now.
He had 1 carry last week.
That's why I didn't start him in fantasy. Now I just get to watch.
Yeah.
I just get to watch.
Yeah, and we also get to watch Devontae Smith. 4 receptions, 131 yards, and a touchdown.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. And Jalen Hurts already has 2 rushing touchdowns.
Yeah. Like, they've been getting it done on the ground very well. This offensive line looks fantastic. It just seemed like the passing game wasn't working in the first half, but obviously something's working for Devontae Smith and Hurts. I will say A.J. Brown has been ineffective, to say the least. 3 receptions, 17 yards on 5 targets.
Also on my fantasy team, except I actually started that guy. But aside from the point, because I don't want to keep talking about that, how about Jordan Addison again? Another touchdown back to
Yep.
back weeks. He has 3 receptions, 72 yards right now. And Justin Jefferson's doing his thing like usual, 7
Yeah.
receptions, 70 yards. So
Honestly, what kind of sucks though is that the biggest blunder of this game, at least thus far, is Justin Jefferson fumbling the ball at the right there at the end zone, running up, trying to reach it out. Ball just gets barely poked, and he loses control, fumbles it inside the pylon. That's a turnover and a touchback for the Eagles.
brutal,
Yeah,
brutal, brutal.
but let's look ahead to the weekend. We'll start off here, Packers Falcons. I
Ooh.
love this matchup. Absolutely love it.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one. Yeah, I really don't have anything else to say except for the Packers made me eat all of my words from last week's podcast.
Yeah, I feel very good about that.
Yeah, that was all you and not me, is what that was. I don't know. I mean, Green Bay's offense looked a lot better than Carolina's. I don't know how Atlanta's going to be able to fare with that. But then again, Atlanta has the offense to get into a shootout, I think.
Yeah,
Minus Desmond Ritter, they definitely can keep up in the run game. Bijan's touchdown was absolutely ridiculous. He made 3 of those defenders look like Play-Doh.
yeah.
Um,
And Tyler
uh,
Algier looked fantastic.
yeah, and I guess they've just kind of forgotten about Cordell Patterson.
I think he was out last week.
Really.
Yeah, he's back though this week. I know that.
I can't wait to see how they use him at the
Yeah.
Joker spot.
Yes, love that.
Yeah.
Love that so much. But next one to talk about, Raiders Bills. Look, the Raiders got lucky. They played the Broncos week 1. The Bills, I don't know what the fuck happened. That was just an insane game to just start off the season for both teams. The Jets lose their future Hall of Fame quarterback for the season. And then Zach Wilson somehow keeps them in this game, but really Josh Allen kept the Jets in this game. One of the worst performances of the last, 2-3 years of his like top tier play, and just kind of left us all like wondering what happened. But yeah, just
Yep.
an interesting one, but I still have the Bills here.
I do too. They're going to have to figure things out with how week 1 went. Like it wasn't like they just kind of lost. It was like you guys literally kept them in the game, like
Yeah.
you said. So they're going to have to really bounce back against the Raiders.
Definitely. And then Seahawks Lions. I feel like with how we saw the Rams shut down the Seahawks, this Detroit defense isn't quite as good as that Rams defense. But I like their offense a lot. And the way they looked last week, the way that I think they'll progressively put Jahmyr Gibbs into this team a little bit more week by week just gives me so much hope. And like the way David Montgomery played last week, fantastic.
Yeah,
And
anytime.
of course, Amon
Dude.
Ra is Amon Ra.
Of course. Yeah, to your point, I actually watched the highlights as soon as we were done recording last episode of the Thursday night game. Amir Gibbs, man, every time he got the ball, I was like holding my breath. I
Yeah.
did not think this kid was him. And I'm going to be honest. I know you probably have a bias here. Amir Gibbs looks a hell of a lot better than Bijan Robinson. Week 1.
In the running game, yes.
Yeah, Bijan was a good receiver for sure.
Yeah, and I think
But-
that's what he'll continue to be good at, just because we have Tyler Algier, who is just bona fide, hand him the ball, he's going to do something with it. So I think that's kind of the differences there. But no, I agree. Jahmyr Gibbs looked great. We just didn't get a huge sample size. It didn't seem like he was on the field all that much.
Yeah, and I think I read something that Dan Campbell wants to slowly integrate him, but after what we saw in week 1, I mean, he definitely needs to take a lot of the load off of David Montgomery, but not all of it, because David Montgomery, to your point, looked phenomenal as well.
Yeah, he looked great. And, of course, Jared Goff just doing his thing, 250 and a touchdown.
Solid.
But, for the Seahawks, it's just about kind of figuring out your targets. Like, who is Geno throwing to? Is he throwing to JSN? Is he throwing to DK? Is he throwing to Tyler Lockett? Like, he has so many options, but can he figure out which one's the best one on a given play?
Yeah, and it looked like against the Rams, he just kind of didn't really have a target, kind of like with what you said. I would like to see JSN get more involved, but I think DK finished with like 3 or 4 receptions. He definitely needs more, more love than that,
Yeah,
for sure.
and I'd like to see the Seahawks establish the run. Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet combined for only 15 carries and 75 yards between the two of them. I need to see Kenneth Walker used a lot more, and if not, you got to give the ball to Zach as well.
Yep, 100%.
But let's move on. Our next matchup here is. Sorry, I lost the page. What the fuck just happened? Jesus. There we go.
It is
Chargers Titans.
the Vikings and Eagles are delayed right now.
What the hell? What is going on?
Oh shit! Is there an injury?
I really hope not. Well, this is gonna be our live reaction.
Oh.
Checking Twitter right now.
Just looking it up on Google.
Are you sure they're
not.
delayed?
That's what it says on. If you look up NFL games on Google, it has theirs delayed. Like it's not even showing what time in the game they are.
I don't know. I like on the ESPN app, or on the ESPN website, it seems fine.
Oh yeah, now it's showing that they're not delayed. Okay, never mind. That was
Weird.
bizarre.
Kind of scared me a little bit. I thought somebody got hurt.
I'm gonna take a picture of it. I can prove it to you. All right.
All right. Well, that's gonna do it for the NFL here. Any other things that you're kind of looking towards this coming week in the NFL?
We have got to talk about Aaron Rodgers and how fucked up this situation is. You and I know, we're both Aaron Rodgers fans, and I could have not been more sad of how that ended up for him. I mean, that watching him lead out the team with the flag, the American flag on September 11th, dude. I thought it was go time.
Yeah.
He doesn't even get to throw a pass and his season's over.
One pass.
Oh, he threw one. Okay.
Yep.
And it's just like, you have got to be kidding me. Like, as a football fan, that fucking sucks.
Yeah, it does. And like you said, we're both Aaron Rodgers fans. We're admittedly Aaron Rodgers fans. And yeah, it fucking sucks. And like, in a way, I'm happy for Zach Wilson. Give him a shot.
Yep.
Because, Rodgers, though he's not going to play, he seems to have played a big role in helping develop Zach Wilson, and so is Nathaniel Hackett. So, I'm interested to see how it goes. I'd rather it not be the case. But it doesn't leave me like, oh, the Jets season's over. It leaves me kind of excited to see what's to come.
I'm 100% in your boat there. I think after watching Hard Knocks, you can tell that just being around Aaron Rodgers has completely shattered Zach Wilson's ego. Yeah. I see, watching Hard Knocks, a lot more humble Zach Wilson. And I think that honestly, that mental switch could be the difference in him. Because we knew, he had the talent at BYU, and we've seen flashes in the NFL. I think the time could be now.
Yeah.
For him.
I'd love for it to be. The problem is if the time is now, what does that mean for Rodgers when he comes back? Because Rodgers wants to come back. I firmly believe it. Some people say he's 40 years old, coming off an Achilles injury. He's not going to keep playing. The guy wants to play. He wouldn't have signed this contract if he didn't want to play. No matter what this is, no matter what happens with this, he wants to play. Randall Cobb, on the other hand, they should just let him quit.
Yeah, he's done.
Yeah, what the fuck? Like, I feel so bad for I almost feel as bad for Randall Cobb as I do for Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Because Randall Cobb came to play with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. Yep.
So, maybe they could figure some out.
Yeah, but the Jets, they have a tough game this week. They have the Cowboys.
Yeah.
That's going to be a game that'll tell a lot about both these teams, I think.
Definitely. Yeah, I'm realizing you kind of threw me off with the delay thing that we just didn't keep going through the games. So we're gonna kind of just run through them quickly. So Chargers Titans, I feel like the Chargers just absolutely dominate this one.
Yeah, 100%. I read somewhere though that they didn't Derrick Henry get less carries than the second string running back.
I don't know. I'm gonna pull that up right now, but um, if he
And I
did,
just want to
he's
show
no.
everybody.
Derrick Henry had 15 carries for 63 yards. That is
Okay.
so weird.
Yeah, it's bizarre. I've never seen that on an NFL game before.
Yeah, that is wild.
Oh man.
No, you're wrong. Derrick Henry had 15 carries for 63 yards.
Okay, I think I read somewhere or I saw a take that they might be trying to phase him out.
We'll see.
I don't know, but yeah, the Chargers are going to just absolutely steamroll the Titans,
Yep.
no questions.
All right, Bears Buccaneers. These are, the Buccaneers kind of overperformed last week. The Bears pretty well underperformed last week against the Packers.
Yep,
What's your take on this? I think the Buccaneers defense is just too good for the Bears.
I literally was about to say the same thing. I could totally see the Buccaneers defense way more than the Packers defense absolutely exposing the Bears offense.
Yeah, agreed.
Yep,
So we're both going Buccaneers. Colts
yep.
Texans.
Ooh, two rookie quarterbacks.
Yeah,
That's going to be a good game.
agreed.
Um, I think CJ Stroud had a better game as far as like no mistakes,
Yeah.
but Anthony Richardson was more effective in putting points on the board for his team. I'm going to take the Colts.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with the Texans. I just really like their defense.
Yeah, they got a fun defense over there.
And then Giants Cardinals. I think the Cardinals are trying to lose. Giants
Probably.
really need to win. So I'm gonna
Yeah,
go Giants.
that Giants offense was so bizarre. I could not
Yeah.
believe like when I heard that not the Falcons, when I heard the Cowboys scored 40, I was like, "Oh, so the Giants scored like 35, right?" Nope.
Nope.
Got completely goose egged.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm going to take the Giants just because they're 1,000 times better than the Cardinals. But the Giants have a lot of thinking to do.
Yeah. I don't want to just like shit on the Cardinals. Their defense looked much better than I anticipated last week.
Yeah, against a Commanders team
Yeah.
that granted has weapons offensively. So
Yeah, definitely. All right, Jets Cowboys we already kind of talked about, but when it comes down to it, that Cowboys team looked so good. And I know people are trying to shit on the Giants and diminish this win for the Cowboys, but no, that was for real. That was a real fucking effort by the Cowboys. The offense looked great, no mistakes. How crazy is that? It's almost
yeah,
like I
I
said.
know. The new First Take crew, or no, is it the new Undisputed? Where is Shannon Sharp and Skip Bayless now?
Okay, well, Skip Bayless has his own show. Shannon Sharp is on First Take now with Stephen A. Smith.
With Stephen A. Okay. So Shannon Sharp and Stephen A were talking about this game, I think it was, and both of them highlighted something that I completely missed with them, putting up 40. Dak was still kind of like not really that effective. I think he only had like 140 or like 150 yards, and one of his completions was like a 49-yarder to CD Lamb. They're going to be able to need to throw against the Jets.
Yeah.
And I think that could be probably a big difference maker for them.
Yeah, like I definitely think that last week was a bit of an extreme for like what I said about the balance between running and throwing the ball. Cuz like the Cowboys didn't really need to do anything on offense. Like they had 2 defensive touchdowns
Yeah.
and the Giants weren't doing shit. So Tony Pollard getting 14 carries and them running the ball 30 times and Dak Prescott throwing the ball 25 times is probably more going to look like a 30-30 split.
Yeah.
30 pass attempts for Dak, maybe a little more, 30 rushing attempts, maybe a little less.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
So, yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see. That Jets defense, great. So good.
Oh, phenomenal.
And I think that's a huge part of why they stayed in that game with the Bills, and a huge part of why I think they're going to keep this a whole lot closer than you think.
Big time. Are you taking the Jets or the Cowboys, though?
I'm taking the Cowboys. I think they edge them out. just because of the offensive inconsistencies of Zach Wilson.
Yeah, and with that defense, it could be even more rough.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I'm going to go the Cowboys too. Micah Parsons is going to beat Zach Wilson.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Commanders, Broncos. This one's interesting. I think these are two teams with pretty solid defenses, kind of in different spots. And then also some decent offensive play from both sides, but definitely not exceptional.
I'm going to go Commanders, I think, in this one.
I think I am too. I love their defensive line.
Yeah, they're the kind of defensive line that could make Russ look silly if they
Yeah.
wanted to, which they probably do. I think everybody does.
Oh, yeah.
But Russ didn't really look that bad though. 27 for 34, 177 yards, 2 touchdowns against who did they play? I am so sorry. Raiders, that's right. So, a pretty average kind of like system quarterback game, I guess, not really throwing the ball too deep, but the Commanders are going to be able to get to him though.
Yeah, definitely. And then Sunday Night Football, Dolphins Patriots. I think this is a lock for the Dolphins, but the Patriots won't be just like absolutely shut down in this game.
No, I thought they were going to be shut down by the Eagles, but they actually kept
Yeah.
it pretty damn close. But I don't know. The Dolphins just against the Chargers, they looked ridiculous, man. Yeah. I mean, like Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle is like D Wade and LeBron.
Yeah,
basically, it's ridiculous.
Well, it's Tua and Tyreek Hill is D Wade and LeBron, and then you got Chris Bosh over there with Jalen Waddle.
I didn't want to disrespect him like that, but maybe I'm disrespecting Chris Bosh.
Fantastic, yeah. What?
But LeBron, D Wade, Bosh is like down there compared to them.
I don't know, man. I think you're just shitting on a true, tried and true power forward.
That is true, but I don't know. I could see the Dolphins giving the Patriots a really hard time offensively. I'm going to go Dolphins.
All right, yeah, I'm going Dolphins as well. I'm sure they'll put up like 40.
Yeah.
All right, and then we have 2 games Monday night. 7:15 Saints Panthers. What are we thinking here? The Saints looked pretty bad. I was gonna say okay. No, they were pretty bad. They're playing the Titans. Yeah. They didn't look good. That game, literally, I watched at least a snap of every single game from Sunday, except the Saints Titans. I did not want to watch that game. I kept my distance from that one, and for good reason.
Yeah, and I don't know. I feel like the Saints kind of have a similar opponent here in the sense where the Panthers and the Titans both are kind of like, I would say, offensively lacking.
Yeah.
In some areas. So I think for that reason alone, I'm going to go Saints. They have Michael Thomas, Chris Olave.
Yeah.
And Derek Carr. They can still muster out wins without AK with those guys.
Yeah, and they have competent human beings on the defensive line. So that's going to beat the offensive line of the Panthers.
100%.
All right, Browns Steelers.
Ooh, this one's going to be a good game, I think.
Yeah, Cleveland's only favored by 2.5.
Yeah, the Browns looked really, really good, obviously, against the Bengals. That's kind of, I feel like, one of the bigger stories from Sunday. Mike Tomlin is a guy that can turn his team around, I think, and that's, totally a biased opinion.
That's fair.
I think it's going to be a lot closer than what people think, and I'm never going to bet against my boys. I'm taking the Steelers.
All right. I hate to do that. I'm taking the Browns. That offense looks so good. That offense looks so good. But then again, you go up against a very good defense. So, I don't know. We'll have to see. But I think Deshaun is kind of getting back to his old self. Old self. Not that old self. I don't know if he's doing that. But
oh man. Almost made me spit out my water there, man. Something else I want to highlight about this game to completely go away from what you just said.
Thank you.
TJ Watt tied the Steelers' all-time sack record on Sunday against the 49ers. I think he had a 3-sack game, which is really crazy to believe when you think of like Mean Joe Green, Jack Ham, Jack Lambert, and all those guys. TJ Watt's already tied the record with James Harrison. And I'm, expecting him to break it against the Browns. So everybody tune in for that. That's a big deal. The Steelers are all about pass rush.
Oh
and
yeah.
he's not even close to being done.
No, definitely not. He's
So
got
it's
years and
crazy.
years. All right. Well, that's the slate. Um, all right, let's do it. Let's talk MLB. It's time. And this is one of my favorite things to do on this podcast, and I've talked about this in the past. I love having a platform to come on here and just get mad. So I've actually got 2 rants throughout this MLB recap, but we're gonna start with one, and it's about this biogenesis scandal. Um, you might have heard about it. It's a big PED article that came out. This is totally something that I'd probably read. Did I read it? Fuck no. Probably wondering why the guy that's in college studying the sports industry doesn't care. Well, it's because that I hate that the MLB does this every so often. They just run these stories every couple years about guys that aren't still in the MLB doing steroids. And it's so stupid. I don't care that there was a sting operation on A-Rod and Ryan Braun. I don't care that A-Rod ratted on fellow MLB players. All the MLB did was ruin these guys' careers and ruin the careers of guys that came ahead of them and after them. Yes, let's all get together and celebrate this fantastic story of ruining the lives of professional athletes because they're putting their health on the line to be the best in their sport. And when it comes down to it, like, what are the most talked about seasons in MLB history? Yeah, 1998 home run race, McGuire, Sosa. We all know what's there. Another one, Barry Bonds hitting 73 home runs. These are the seasons that people talk about. These are the players that people talk about. And it's not like, for some reason, the MLB thinks that this puts them in a positive light. Like, we're cleaning up the streets. We're getting rid of all the cheaters. No. The worst part is that you've just tainted the best eras and the best players in MLB history by calling all of those best players cheaters. And the worst part of this is that the MLB is preying on the downfall of their best players, and that these guys are still some of the best of all time, and the community still regards them in the best, and nobody cares that they did steroids. Like, we still observe the greatness of Barry Bonds. We still say that Jose Canseco had the first 40-40 season. We still consider A-Rod one of the best hitters of all time. And we still count Roger Clemens 7 Cy Youngs. So what does the MLB gain from this? Absolutely fucking nothing. Like, they're literally like sanctioning hit pieces on the greatest players of all time. How is that going to help your sport? Why do you think that people don't like how the MLB treats its players? It's because of shit like this. It's things where, like, in like the pictures of Rob Manfred and all of this shit, and adding it into this article and all of this stuff and all these stories, like, this guy really saved and all of this bullshit is ridiculous. Like, if you go look at the top home run hitters of all time, in the top 15, I'm pretty sure 6 or 7 of them were rumored or caught doing steroids.
Wow.
Like, and guess what? Their names are still there. There is no asterisk next to their name. They just hit home runs. And I will, to this day, argue that there are certain performance enhancing drugs that should not be banned. There's certain things that should not be banned. Yes, if it is something that is entirely not safe, something that is just straight up gonna kill you, don't take it. You can stop people from taking that. But they're popping guys for supplements that they're taking that the FDA doesn't have to approve, so they don't know what's in it. And they're not going to ship it off to get tested by the league, because then you wait 2 weeks and all you wanted to do was use this for recovery, and all of a sudden you have nothing. You have literally nothing. And it's just, it's crazy to me, like the guys that get in trouble for this kind of stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, that's my rant on PEDs and the MLB being a bunch of pieces of shit.
There you go. So if you're an 8-year-old baseball player, Grayson told you to take steroids.
Correct. I did.
Oh man, no, I'm with you. They're just trying to, I don't know, get better, and it's not like other players can't do it. You know,
No.
I mean, it's not like they're getting an unfair advantage. I feel like if it's available for everybody.
Yeah. I think it's one of the most ridiculous things, especially when it comes down to like the guys that genuinely do it on accident.
Oh yeah.
Like there's guys that just like the supplement thing, like this literally like just happened. Like somebody literally just got popped for it, and I believe in the NFL. Um, like literally he ordered these supplements, or like a doctor recommended them or something. Like not a team doctor, but just like a regular doctor recommended them. Takes them, gets drug tested, suspended. It's like, come on.
Yeah.
It's shit like that
Even
that pisses me off.
Paul Pogba. I don't know if you heard
Yeah,
the story about him, but he claims that he actually didn't even know what he was taking. Like it was in his food
yeah,
or something like that. Just sad.
yeah.
Real
It
sad.
absolutely sucks. So, fuck the MLB for doing this. Respect to the ESPN writer because that was a long ass fucking article. That's also why I didn't read it. It was very long. Nonetheless,
So
so
first
crazy.
loser, MLB.
Yes. But we'll actually get into the winners and losers. The first winner is the Braves for like the 100th week in a row. The Atlanta Braves are NL East champions for the 6th year in a row. We already heard that. This is now their 23rd division title in the division era, which started in 1969. 23 is the most of any team in the divisional era, 3 ahead of the Dodgers. They currently have 96 wins this season, and honestly, looking at their schedule, they might hit like 107 or 108.
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn.
So shout
And
out them Braves.
I wanted to go back to it, but even Acuna, man, he was having a field day with those fans booing him in Philly.
Oh
I
yeah.
loved watching it. I loved it.
Yeah. And actually that's a perfect segue. My next loser is the baseball fun police. They come
Oh yeah.
out every day, I think. This time, Phillies manager Rob Thompson, who made a statement about Acuna's home run celebration following his 37th home run of the season, saying, "I like our guys to act like they've been there before." Newsflash, Rob, he has been there just this season 36 times before that. And what, in his career, he's hit well over 100? Like, yeah, look, Rob, he's been there. Don't worry. You played 4 years in the league. You've barely been there. But it's shit. This is just another thing of people trying to ruin this fucking sport. You have a guy on your team named Bryce Harper who likes to pimp home runs too. You have a guy on your team named Kyle Schwarber that only hits home runs or he strikes out. But Acuna does a celebration because he is literally shattering history, and you have a problem with it all of a sudden. Guys can't celebrate.
Yep.
It just it
Unbelievable.
makes no sense to me. But my next winner is Trey Turner of the Phillies. Shout out Trey Turner.
Yeah.
Though he was part of the losing effort that allowed the Braves to clinch on Wednesday, he has been red hot at the plate. He is now the first player in MLB history to have at least 11 home runs and 11 multi-hit games over a 13-game span.
Wow.
Yeah. He is
Out of nowhere
fucking
too.
killing it. It's just, look, the Phillies fans finally applauded him. That's all he needed.
Yeah.
He just
That
needed
was a cool gesture.
It was. He just needed
Yeah.
some positive reinforcement.
Sometimes it's all we need, man.
Yeah. So
Pick up your brothers.
Yeah.
Pick up your brothers.
Shout out Trey Turner. But here comes my second rant of the MLB.
Ugh.
My next loser is Bill Plaschke, writer for the LA
Seatbelt.
Times. He is a piece of shit, but he just continues to be an embarrassment to baseball media. Not only to the entire league, but to his Dodgers faithful as well. I'm sitting here looking at people's reactions to this article, and half of them are Dodgers fans being like, "I fucking hate Bill Plaschke." And if you don't know why I hate him, and I have hated him for multiple years now, he tweeted during the 2021 NLCS between the Dodgers and Braves, and I quote, "After the 5-game madness against the Giants, this NLCS Game 1 in a sterile shopping mall Atlanta Stadium feels like a Saturday night in May. Most excitement is discussion of post-game trips to Waffle House."
I have
Yeah.
never heard that quote before, bro. He just
Yeah.
insulted the whole fucking
Yeah.
state.
And then we inevitably skull fucked the Dodgers en route to a World Series title. If you don't see it right here, we won that series 4-2. And on that World Series run in the postseason, we didn't even face elimination once and flaunted one of the best fan bases in the MLB and continue to this day. Now, you know the backstory. He wrote an article the other day titled "The Race is Over. The Dodgers' Mookie Betts should be the National League MVP." First of all, if the race was over, it wouldn't be should. Mookie Betts would be the MVP. So grammar. But he also says, I pulled a few quotes here. Then there is the clincher. Betts has played 3 different positions on 3 wildly divergent parts of the diamond, while Acuna has yet to exit right field. That is the dumbest fucking argument I have ever heard for somebody to win MVP. Is that your team isn't fucking good enough to just have a shortstop or have a second baseman either stay healthy or be good enough to be on an MLB field. That is a bullshit argument. Next, he then, this fucking idiot, puts a quote that he got from Dave Roberts while he forced Roberts to take his pick for MVP between his own 2 players in Freddie Freeman and Mookie Betts, in which Roberts stated, "I think it's hard not to say Mookie is not the most valuable player." Okay, listen to that real close. I think it's hard not to say that Mookie is not the most valuable player. Grammar, bitch. I hate that that's my biggest hole in his entire argument, but maybe check the grammar next time when you're going to force the manager of the team that pays your bills. Have him say the right thing. Don't have him say that there's no way that Mookie's not, or it's hard to not say that Mookie's not, like, I don't even fucking know. But yeah, the rest of the article is just stroking Mookie, which we do plenty of on this podcast. We commend Mookie Betts a lot, but the rest of it outside of that is belittling Ronald Acuna for having a season that'll be remembered in the halls of Cooperstown rather than a season that is arguably worse than what the other player did back in 2018. So that's rant number 2 and the final rant of the episode from me, at least.
I never even heard about that shit. I can't believe he not only went after the stadium, the new stadium where everybody in Georgia loves to go to the Battery. It's such a badass
an environment
stadium.
like I have never been in before. I've been to football games at Sanford Stadium and Jordan Hare and Bobby Dodd. And Mercedes-Benz Stadium, the Georgia Dome. I've been to Camping World Stadium. I have been to so many
Turner
football
Field.
games. Nothing. I've been to baseball games at Turner Field, PNC Park, Petco Park. Numerous, obviously, minor league games aren't big. Miller Park as well. Nothing is like the postseason atmosphere of a Braves game. When we lost to the Phillies in Game 2 of the NLDS last year, that fucking stadium was bumping. Even once we lost, that stadium was fucking loud.
Yeah.
It is unlike any other. And if you want to call us a sterile shopping mall, then maybe all of your fucking fans shouldn't leave the stadium when they go down in Game 4 of that same goddamn series.
And then the Waffle House comment.
Yeah, bro. You
got to be fucked up. You have got to be fucked up to talk about Waffle House like that.
And that's why a big part of like people releasing merch and everything after that was doing like the world champions in like the Waffle House squares. That's why that's why this happened.
Okay.
Because like Peter Moylan, who obviously former Braves pitcher, works for Bally Sports South, replied to the tweet with just a picture of him eating Waffle House.
Perfect.
But let's move on so I can compliment a Dodgers player. My next winner is Freddie Freeman. The man is on pace for the first 60 double season in 90 years.
Wow.
Yeah, nobody has hit 60 doubles in 90 years.
That is... There's a lot of good players that have been in the league in 90 years.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
That's interesting.
like prolific extra base hit guys, like Hank
Yeah.
Aaron. Hank Aaron
Yeah.
never had 60 doubles in a season, and he is the extra base hit leader of all time.
Who's the last guy to do it?
I don't know a lot of players from what is that, 1933?
Yeah, that
Gotta
is
be
true.
honest. Um,
Oh
yeah, I
man.
probably should have kept it because I know his name was on the thing that I saw this on. Nonetheless, congrats, Freddie. Whatever. We have Matt Olson. He's about to break the franchise record for home runs. But my next
Good for him.
loser is anybody that hits a ball to left or right center or just center field in general against the Cubs for the next 15, 20 years. Uh, yeah, Pete Crow Armstrong. The
Wow.
man is here, and he made a statement with this one. The kid covered 98 feet in 4.9 seconds to make a sliding grab at Coors Field. That means he was moving 30.7 feet per second.
Corbin Carroll, watch the fuck out
Yeah.
because your clone has respawned.
Yeah, and he's got some beautiful hair.
Oh yeah, and then I actually have him in my notes too. The moment with his mom was
Yeah.
so precious in that debut, man.
Yeah. And in case you
Loved
didn't
it.
know, I think I said it on Wednesday's episode, but his mom is the mom of the kid in the movie Little Big League from the 90s.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Wow.
But let's move on. My next winner, the Red Sox scoreboard operator. With their fourth rain delay since Saturday. Yes, 4 rain delays since Saturday in Boston. The Red Sox had to improvise a way to entertain the fans for staying. And they just put the immaculate grid up on the scoreboard.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was
That's
great. It was a
awesome.
pretty good grid too. Pretty sure it was Yankees, Reds, Rookie of the Year across the top, and then Dodgers, Red Sox, Cubs down. Pretty solid
Nice.
grid.
Wow.
But my next loser is taking your no hitter into the ninth. It just seems to suck because there have been 2
Yes.
no hit bids broken in the ninth or later over the last 4 days. Milwaukee and Houston both had one. Last time that happened in the MLB in a span of 4 days or less, August 20th of 1986, when it happened twice on the same day.
Wow.
Yeah, and there's actually been 3 no-hitters broken up in the ninth in the last 16 days with San Francisco and Alex Cobb. Last time for that, April 28th to May 10th in 1989.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, so
Interesting.
I would not want to take a no-hitter into the ninth right now.
Heck no.
But my final winner, the Orioles farm system. They just keep bringing these guys up. Heston Kjerstad, the latest to get the call, the outfielder. He's going to come up. I believe he'll make his debut tomorrow. I don't think he's debuting today. But meanwhile, down in AAA, his outfield counterpart in Jackson Holiday, who just got brought up, hit his first bomb in AAA. And that's in his first 8 games were a real slow start. Only batting like 150 over the first 8 games. But
Oh wow.
in his 9th game, 2 hits, one of them a home run. We'll definitely take that.
I like that.
Yeah, so shout out to Orioles and their young talent. And then I don't really have a final loser. I'm considering this one kind of a loser, but maybe not.
Okay.
So just follow along. It's Jordan Lyles of the Royals. So the loser side is that he leads the league in runs allowed as a qualified starting pitcher at 121 runs. And he also leads the league in losses with 16.
Damn.
But interestingly enough, he's also tied for the league in complete games.
How?
I couldn't fucking tell you.
It sounds like he should be taken out of games pretty early.
Yeah. Well, and most of the time he is. But yeah, he's got 4 wins, 16 losses, and 3 complete games.
Interesting.
Yeah, absolutely crazy. That's why I'm saying, like, kind of a loser, but maybe not. Like, definitely not great pitching. But if you can go a complete game 3 times, this
It's
like
pretty good.
in this era, it's amazing. Um,
Oh.
yeah, other news though, the last 20 starts for Blake Snell have been crazy. A 1.31 ERA, 12.54 Ks per nine. He's the first pitcher in MLB history to have a sub 1.5 ERA with a 12.5 plus Ks per nine over a 20 start span in a single season.
A little bit too late for him.
Yeah, too bad.
Too bad.
Not too late for this guy, though. Spencer Strider of the Atlanta Braves, of course, Quadzilla, if you may, has 415 strikeouts in his first 48 career MLB starts. He needs at least 4 strikeouts over his next 2 starts to surpass Dwight Gooden's 418 for the most strikeouts in a pitcher's first 50 major league starts in the modern era.
What did you say that guy's name was?
Dwight Gooden, also known as Doc Gooden.
He sounds like he probably played in the 20s.
No, he was on
Oh,
the like a Mets legend. Played with like Darryl Strawberry and Keith Hernandez.
was that 80s?
Yeah,
Okay. Is it
believe
my
he
turn for the
also
news?
he might have played on the Yankees. I could be wildly
I don't know.
misunderstanding that.
I don't know. This Vikings Eagles game is pretty crazy right now, actually.
He did play on the Yankees. I haven't been paying attention at all.
Oh, never mind. The Eagles just got the ball. Vikings probably lost.
Yep, ball game. 15 seconds
they were-
left. Eagles win 34-28.
They were driving down the field, though.
Definitely. Kirk had a fucking fantastic game. 31
Hell
for
yeah.
43, 364, and 4 touchdowns.
Damn.
Woo.
All right. Well, you stole my Pete Crow Armstrong, but that's okay because phenomenal player.
Yeah.
I'm going to add a loser, though, and my loser is Ellie De La Cruz. He was playing catch with, is it Noel V. Marte?
Yeah. No LV.
Did you hear about this?
No. Oh, wait. Yeah, he got like hit in the face.
Yeah, they were
Yeah.
playing catch, and Ellie threw a ball at Marte, and I guess Marte wasn't looking, and blood just begins to pour out of Marte's nose, and he was in the starting lineup, and the game was delayed, and then he was later removed from the starting lineup. So, damn it, Ellie.
Yeah. He's just too good.
Throwing too hard. He's too good. Another loser, and this one's kind of sad, but we'll just have to talk about it. Max Scherzer.
Yep.
And I mean, it only really gets worse for the Rangers. Out for the remainder of the season with a muscle strain. And yeah, this just couldn't suck more for that Texas team.
Yeah. I do want to note this. So he's not going to need surgery, which is good. But one of the reporters said he's unlikely to pitch in the postseason. And I can't decide if that's because he's hurt or if they're just not going to make the playoffs.
Right? Who knows? And then I have 3 Yankees news that I want to hit. Zach McAllister made his Yankee debut, or not. No, it wasn't a debut. It was his first time pitching in like 5 years in the majors, which was really cool to see. And how about Michael King? Michael King might be one of the best pitchers in the league right now. So normally he's like a closer setup kind of role in the Yankees bullpen. But for his past 4 outings, he's actually been starting games. That's really how bad it is in New York. 18.2 innings pitched, 18 hits given up, only 3 earned runs, and 26 strikeouts. His outing versus the Brew Crew, he had 9 Ks in 5 innings. And then today versus Boston, he went 4.2 innings and had 8 strikeouts.
Wow.
Yeah, so big winner, Michael King there. I love to see it. I've always loved him as a pitcher. Maybe we'll start to see him more as a starter. Who knows? And then a big loser, mainly for Yankees fans. I mainly just feel bad for this guy. Martian, Jason Dominguez is going to have to get Tommy John surgery. They're saying 9 to 10 months for him.
Yep.
Tough. That's brutal.
Yeah, that's brutal.
And that was it for my stuff.
Yeah, I got one more thing, but what, 9 to 10 months? So we're looking at like a June or July return next year.
Not good.
Oh, not the Martian. But I'm going to talk about Japanese star pitcher Yoshinobu Yamamoto. He had 29 MLB scouts in the stands for his last start, and threw a no-hitter, 3rd of the season.
3rd?
Yeah, I believe it was third of the season. I saw third. It might have been season, might have been career. I'm not sure. But it was the
Either
third of
way,
something.
yeah.
Either way, crazy. Brian Cashman was in attendance. He got
Good.
swarmed by fans. Jed Hoyer of the Chicago Cubs, their president of baseball operations, will be there for his next start in a couple of days. But right now, it looks like the Yankees really want him.
That sounds great.
All right.
That sounds great. Have another Masahiro Tanaka, except hopefully better than Tanaka.
Yeah, I was about to say. You might
Yep.
want something a little bit better. Nonetheless, let's talk playoff picture. Not too much changing, but still a few things shaken up. So when we look at the standings, of course, in the American League, actually not of course, it's getting kind of close. Um, in the American League East, the Baltimore Orioles only have a 1-game lead over the Tampa Bay Rays. They both sit at 91 wins, but the Rays have played 2 more and lost 2 more. So the Orioles might not be locked up for that first seed in the American League, but those two just so clear of everybody else in the American League. So you're either the number 1 seed or you're going to end up as the number 4 seed, which kind of sucks.
That's a big difference there, and it's
Yeah.
every more reason to keep playing until it's over. There's no
Yeah.
time to rest, guys. Really.
Definitely not. But when it comes down to the other division leaders, of course, the Twins, they're 8 games ahead of the Guardians, so they've got that one locked up. And then the Astros are a half game ahead of the Rangers and a game and a half ahead of the Mariners, who have kind of slipped just a little bit.
Yeah.
Um,
Interesting.
but when we look at the wild card standings, we're looking at the Rays still as the 1 seed there. They're 9 games ahead of the Rangers at 2, Mariners at 3, and the Blue Jays, who have really fallen off, losing 4 straight, a game and a half back of the Seattle Mariners.
Ooh, close though.
Yeah, definitely a close one. Yeah, we'll have to see. That American League one is crazy, and it's really just one team out right now. Like one team out of the 4, um, is sitting on the outside looking in, and it kind of makes sense. It's the Blue Jays. When it comes down to like run differential, far and away the worst of the 4. At only a plus 55, whereas the other ones all clear 100 easily. I just think that the Blue Jays are hitting a skid at the wrong time.
Yeah, big time. But like you said, they're only 1 game back from Seattle.
Yeah.
So still
Yeah.
close.
But over in the National League, of course, the Braves have already clinched their ticket as a top 3 seed. I believe the magic number for clinching home field advantage in the National League is 12, I believe. So any night that the Dodgers lose and the Braves win is another step closer to that magic number coming to fruition. But yes, like I said, Braves 96 and 50, Dodgers 88 and 57, and then the Brewers at 82 and 64. They're 3 division leaders. Go over to the wild card, the Phillies. They've got 2.5 games, or sorry, 1.5 games over the Cubs. The Cubs 2.5 games over the Giants. The Giants, Reds, and Diamondbacks straight up tie between the 3 of them at the moment.
Ooh.
Yeah, all with a
Damn.
514 winning percentage. And then the Marlins, only a half game back of that pack.
Crazy. And I honestly, like, out of all these teams, I just can't believe how hot the Cubs have gotten.
Yeah. Yeah. And they've kind of
Really?
slowed down a little bit. Like they've lost their last 2. They're 5-5 in their last 10. But
Oof.
literally every team from the Marlins to the Cubs has been 5-5 in their last 10. How?
This is what we live for.
Yeah, it's crazy. And then the Phillies have been the worst in their last 10 out of this group.
Making it even closer.
Yeah. The National League wild card is going to come down to a pretty heated race because the Marlins are a game or are half a game back. If they win their next game, which doesn't look likely because they play a 3-game set with the Braves, but That could really hurt them.
Yeah,
Um,
it could.
but the Diamondbacks, Reds, Giants certainly going to be fighting it out, and the Cubs too. The Cubs can't falter.
There's going to be one team that I'm going to be sad doesn't make it. There just is.
Yeah, yeah. Like I want Reds, Diamondback. I honestly, every single team that is contention, I want to make the playoffs,
Yeah,
except the Phillies. I'd love for them to not make
exactly.
it.
Exactly.
But nonetheless, yeah, it's looking pretty wild. So we'll keep you guys updated every week with that. But it seems like it's time for the Premier League, Luke.
We don't want to go into the weekend with MLB.
Oh shit. How did I
Do it.
forget that on the prep sheet? Um of course, we have to do that. So, Luke, start me off with your favorite matchup for the week.
Oh, let me get onto the website here because I never take notes at this part. I
All
just
right,
always
Rays
look.
Orioles this weekend. I'll start it.
Dodgers Seattle.
Rays Orioles is fucking ridiculous. They're literally
Oh my
insane.
god.
That
The
series should be crazy.
Cubs and the Diamondbacks play each other.
Yeah. This is
Oh
a
man.
huge weekend for wild card
Ooh.
implications in both leagues. Braves and Marlins, so the Marlins have to at least take 2 off the Braves if they want to stay close because somebody's getting some games in that Diamondback series with the
Yep.
Cubs. The Reds might have a cakewalk here, and that might help them. They're playing the Mets. The Rangers play the Guardians, so they've got a pretty good chance to push up a little bit, but the Astros play the Royals. So that one might help them out. The Giants play the Rockies. That puts them in a good position. It is insane where these wild card teams, are playing this weekend, but when it comes to the National League, it seems like the team with the best opportunity to pull away is going to be the Reds playing the Mets.
Yeah. Yeah. I completely agree.
Or
And
Phillies playing the Cardinals.
yeah. Yep, I can see that too.
But
Baltimore plays Houston on Sunday. Or no, Monday.
Monday.
Sorry, Monday. Yep.
Yeah. A lot of huge series really coming down the stretch because, obviously we'll have a couple of like in division matchups, but when it comes down to it, a lot of these wild card teams are either facing each other or facing very good teams.
Yep. Oh, did I say Baltimore is Houston?
Yes,
Did
you
I say
did.
Boston?
Said Baltimore.
Okay, just want to make sure I didn't get my B cities mixed up.
Okay. Well, any good pitching matchups this weekend? We've got Eflin versus Jack Flaherty and Rays Orioles on Friday.
Let me. uh,
Not a lot. Oh, Bobby Miller versus George Kirby and Giants Mariners on Friday.
Yep, that one's gonna be good.
Yep. Um,
Tyler Glasnow versus Grayson Rodriguez is kind of decent.
yeah, that's not bad. Not not a lot of good ones.
Yeah, Kershaw versus Bryce Miller.
Yeah, that one's pretty good. And then Sunday, Morton versus Luzardo is actually a pretty good matchup.
Like that one.
Yeah, not a lot of great pitching matchups this weekend.
No, not really. But hey, great series.
Yes, definitely some great series. Oh, we do have Jordan Wicks facing Ryan Nelson on Sunday, Cubs Diamondbacks.
There you
That
go.
one's good as well. So, sorry, I was a little premature. Now we can get into the Premier League.
Let's do it.
And it all starts Manchester United versus Brighton. First thoughts?
Oh, sorry, I had to quench my thirst. The way I see it, Brighton is way more consistent than Manchester United right now. I really still have no idea how to feel about United this season.
Me neither.
They look nowhere as good they don't even look like they can be as good as they were last year.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe if you work around like the lineups and stuff, but what I mean, like they're on the play field does not look as good as it was last season. And Brighton have been kind of flying. Um, they did actually. They're coming off of a win against your Toon squad.
Yes.
Evan Ferguson with a brilliant hat trick. He actually has 4 goals in 4 games, which is pretty insane. And it comes down to really Brighton have a very young squad that can compete with anybody in the Premier League right now.
Yeah,
Literally
and
anybody.
they can definitely compete with a Manchester United team that has Antony on suspension for obvious reasons. Sofian Amrabat is still doubtful, so we probably still won't see him. Rafael Varane is doubtful as well. Mason Mount out till October. Luke Shaw still needs a few days to recover. So still missing some key guys for Manchester United, and Brighton really only missing. Yes, Evan Ferguson is doubtful. I don't know if he's going to play or not, and the same goes for Julio and Ciso, but those are their only 2 like real inactives.
And something else that I wanted to highlight as well, but I have to find the stat. Oh my God, this is going to take me a second. I'm referring to Manchester United's last game against Arsenal. That was a really, really poor outing. Oh man, I gotta find the stat. Please hold. Yeah, they lost 3-1. And yeah, here it is. Manchester United had a total of 10 shots, 2 of them on target. It's brutal. They scored 1 goal, but their expected goals was a .94.
Ooh.
I mean, you don't win games like that. You maybe draw 0-0.
Yeah.
But you don't win games like that. They didn't have a lot of the ball. Bad game from Onana and Delo, to your point, with Luke Shaw being out. Antony is largely ineffective when he was on the pitch. Now he's even more ineffective. Manchester United just don't look good. They look too shaky.
Don't. Nobody on that team has more than 1 goal.
Wow.
Yeah. And through 4 matches, that certainly shouldn't be the case for a team that's so highly touted this season. I really like Brighton in this one, dude.
I do too. I'm gonna go 2-0.
Yeah. My biggest problem is Brighton flying with the goals. They've scored 3 goals per game this season. They haven't kept a clean sheet. Manchester United unbeaten at home. That's just in the last 4, so that includes going back to like friendlies and stuff, but that doesn't really matter. But I still think Brighton takes it. They end that unbeaten streak at home. I'm going to take Brighton 2-0.
So we agree.
Yep.
Nice.
All right. Well, then we go to a surprisingly top 4 matchup between West Ham United and Manchester City. This one's interesting. Look, Manchester United, West Ham, are going to be putting out whatever their best lineup possible is because they have nobody out.
Except for Susek.
Oh, shit.
Yep.
Didn't know that.
I actually think it helps them because the way that they lined up against their 2-1 win over Luton Town last week, you finally, you didn't have to replace somebody in the midfield. Paqueta got to stay at Cam, and James Ward-Prowse with Edison Alvarez were the holding mids. And I love Susek, but you can't really line up better than that.
Yeah, that's ideal.
And it reflected in their possession, 61% possession.
Yeah, not that Luton Town is good at all, actually. But
Luton Town actually had 16 shots in that game, but only 1 on target.
Well,
there you go.
Thanks for backing me up. Looking at the history of this matchup, though, not great. The last 30 head-to-heads between these two teams, Manchester City has won 23.
Okay, so they got a pretty good track record against West Ham.
Yeah, and so does their striker, Mr. Erling Haaland. He likes to score really against anybody.
I want to talk about Manchester City's last game against Fulham. Holland took Fulham, put them in a dumpster, lit that bitch on
Yeah.
fire. That's pretty much what happened. He scored a hat trick in a 5-1 win. Alvarez and Ake also got on the score sheet. And Alvarez it just goes to prove why Pep Guardiola is not the best. He's just unfair. Why do they have that good of depth? Where they can just replace KDB with Alvarez and it just works the same?
Yeah.
I don't get it.
It,
I
it
don't get it.
makes zero sense. And like
No.
another part of this is that, yeah, Erling Haaland, you have the top goal scorer in the league right now with 6 goals. You also are second in goals scored per match at 2.8. You also are the only team that has kept 2 clean sheets.
Wow.
That's unfair.
It
It is
is.
straight up unfair that they can play this good.
And Kovacic has started like every game for them, which I really underestimated the playing time he was going to get, but
Yeah.
he's been absolutely solid for them. I love to see it.
Yeah,
Really do.
I'm right again.
I love you.
Just too good, man. All right, score predictions in that one.
4-0 Man City. I mean, that's
It's
like
realistic. It's just
exactly.
crazy that that's the case. I'm gonna go 3-1. I like Manchester or Jesus. I would like West Ham's attack. God, I'm struggling.
You're good, man. You're good.
Oh, but let's get to the last notable matchup, which there is other good matchups, but not really. And this one is kind of surprising unless you've looked at the table recently. This is a good matchup. Crystal Palace versus Fulham. Crystal Palace right now sits 7th in the league.
Yeah. Villa are coming off of a 3-0 loss to Liverpool. I really had nothing to highlight in this game with Villa because it wasn't even like they play bad. It just Liverpool took their opportunities well. Villa, they defended pretty awfully, though. I kind of meant the other parts of Villa were really good. They barely had the ball. The only thing that I really want to highlight from this game, and it's not even the team that we're covering, Soboslai did get his first Liverpool goal in that one for Aston Villa. Do you have anything for Aston Villa?
No. I do have to correct myself. I accidentally went ahead to next week's games and just said Crystal Palace versus Fulham. I'm pretty sure.
Oh,
but Aston Villa versus Crystal Palace is the game we're supposed to be talking about.
yes.
It's so tough with Aston Villa. The guys that they're missing right now are big parts of this team, but they've done a good job of filling the roles because I don't think we've seen Jacob Ramsey or Tyrone Mings or Emiliano Buendia in any of their matches so far this year. So they've really done a good job of filling those holes in the team, and I love how Aston Villa lines up.
Oh yeah, they're an entertaining team to kind of see, as soccer nerds like you and I just like to look at players that teams have and try to figure out how I would line it up. Aston Villa is one of those fun teams you can do that with.
Yeah, and of course, they're coming off of a very tough loss to Liverpool, like you said, but their team didn't play that bad.
Yeah, I know.
Like, the attacking efforts weren't great. Ollie Watkins, probably the worst performance of the day, outside of, Matty Cash giving up an own goal, which was super unlucky, by the way.
Yeah.
But, like, I still feel, like, pretty confident in this squad. And I think an early injury took out Diego Carlos. Yeah, and what was weird about that is that instead of subbing in a center back to fill his spot, they subbed on Leon Bailey and shifted the formation because they were running a 5 at the back, shifted it to a 4 at the back, and slid in Leon Bailey.
Yeah.
Which
very interesting.
I definitely think threw them off a bit. Obviously, Szoboszlai was already on the board at that point, but then that leads to a bit of a defensive breakdown with Matty Cash getting the own goal, and then later in the game, Salah scores.
Leon Bailey came in for an injured Diego Carlos in 19th minute, only to get subbed out in the 65th
Yeah.
by Zaniolo.
Yeah. I don't know
Bizarre.
what they were going for. I'll just say this. I
Yeah,
trust Unai Emery because he has been a very good decision maker for this team.
he's a proven manager.
Yeah,
Sure.
definitely. And I like what he's done with this team. That move's a little confusing to
Yeah, big time.
me. Like, I had definitely had some question marks watching that match. But nonetheless, this is still a good matchup. Crystal Palace is not a team to look past. They always have youth in this lineup, and this is no different. They played a fantastic, hard-fought match against Wolves, where they almost lost it there at the end, but they hang on. They get the 56th minute goal from Edouard, and then as he follows him up in the 78th, and then Edouard tacks on another in the 84th. Huang scores a goal in the 65th, and then Cunha scored in the 90th plus 6, trying to bring it back, but to no avail. Crystal Palace, like Ezzy and Edouard, beautiful up front. The way that
Oh
they
yeah,
lined up last week was so perfect, and it just allowed those two to just get fed the ball.
yeah. And to bounce off of that, Crystal Palace had 16 shots, but unlike Luton Town, who had 1 shot on target, Crystal Palace had 11 shots on target, which is way better than any of the teams that we've covered. Doing this Premier League
Yeah,
preview, and yeah, Crystal Palace look really good attacking, really,
definitely.
really good.
So and like when it comes down to like the matchups between these two historically, as far back as I'm seeing, Aston Villa has 6 wins, Crystal Palace has 6 wins, and there's 2 draws between them.
Wow, couldn't get more even than that.
Yeah. When you look at like top goal scorers, Diaby scored 2, Edouard has 3, but I don't see that much separation between these two teams personally. With how we've seen them play in these first couple of matches, and yeah, Villa haven't, or sorry, not Villa, Crystal Palace haven't played the best teams, and really Villa hasn't either outside of that tough defeat to Liverpool. But I still think I ought to stick with Villa.
I think I'm gonna take Palace 2-1.
Okay.
Actually,
Yeah, I'm gonna flip it. So I'm gonna go 2-1 Aston Villa.
all right,
All right.
I like it.
Remaining matches of the weekend though, you have Wolves versus Liverpool, Fulham versus Luton Town, Spurs versus Sheffield United, Newcastle Brentford, and then Sunday you have Bournemouth Chelsea and Everton Arsenal.
I think Chelsea are gonna debut their new third kit. Have you seen it?
Yeah, I have. It looks good.
It's like that foam
Yeah.
sea green kind of look.
I
I
think
like it too.
Newcastle is never gonna win another match. So
What do you mean?
I'm getting real like I'm losing all hope with this team.
Oh
Quickly.
no, man!
Very quick.
Come on. Well, we get to see how they fare against AC Milan, Champions League.
Yeah, let's just go ahead and get into that. AC
Oh
Milan
boy,
looks so fucking good in Serie A right now.
that's what I was just about to say.
Like it's unfair.
have a game against Inter though. I think tomorrow. No, Saturday. Sorry,
Okay.
that's gonna be a good game. But, yeah, of course, with us not keeping up with the Serie A much, I really don't know much about what's going on with AC Milan. I just
Yeah.
know that they have been kicking ass in that league.
Yeah, in 3
So,
games played, Olivier Giroud has 4 goals, Christian Pulisic has 2, Rafael Leao has 1. It's just they're playing so well.
yeah,
and
they really
Newcastle's
do.
just not. That's my issue here.
What I've noticed with Newcastle this season is it seems like their defense has been figured out almost.
Yeah,
And
agree.
I think that's kind of where the downfall at least is starting. But they're more than capable of having the means, and they do have the means. They have the players, they have the personnel to turn their season around. It's just a
Yeah.
matter of when.
Yeah,
So,
and what sucks is that Sven Botman's doubtful. Sandro Tonali missed his international appearance, and he's doubtful as well. Joe Willock's doubtful. Like, come on. And we're still gonna
it's
have to
unfair.
watch a fucking. Oh, we're still gonna have to watch that goddamn Sandro Tonali fucking hype video at AC Milan. We're gonna have
Welcome
to
back.
watch that. That's what's gonna kill me.
Oh man, you got a score prediction, or are you gonna be biased?
1-1.
I'm gonna. I
I
think it's.
I'm using my last shred of confidence in this team on this prediction.
I hit that point with Chelsea last season, so I'll give it to you.
Yeah, it's just
Um,
very early for that.
I I'm still. I'm gonna go 2-1 AC Milan,
Okay.
but Newcastle, I feel like in this game are gonna look a lot better.
Okay. Yeah, it's such a hard way to start off, like one of your first Champions League appearances in a very, very long time.
Yeah,
In this fucking group of death. And
it's horrible.
speaking of this group of death, the second best matchup, well, it's probably the best matchup. I just put AC Milan Newcastle first. Is PSG versus Dortmund the same day. A lot of inactives for both sides, at least as of today. Don't know, who's going to be back, who's not. For the moment, Kimpembe has returned to training, hasn't made an appearance yet. Nuno Mendes looks like he's out. I just totally heard that as I was going to talk.
I
Threw
know.
me off.
I couldn't hide it. Couldn't hide it. My bad. I'm coming back from the flu like Jordan, except I'm not
man.
like Jordan. This is really sucking. Oh boy.
All right. Well, what I was saying, Marco Asensio out till October. A bunch of
Wow.
pretty good players in this lineup are out, but not like the top guys that are going to be like the huge difference makers, at least on the attacking side. Dortmund, kind of a similar story. Munir's out. Fulkrug, their new signing from Werder Bremen's out. And that's kind of the main guys. Kobel is out as well. I don't know, man. Like, both of these teams are just so good. It's just hard to root, or it's hard to pick against PSG just because of the firepower.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I'm leaning towards too. PSG have looked a lot better in League than Dortmund have looked in the Bundesliga.
Definitely.
Dortmund have tied to teams that are called Heidenheim and Bochum. Beat Cologne.
Yeah.
But Bochum and Heidenheim, whatever the fuck that name is, should not be tying with Dortmund. And it has Dortmund sitting at a solid 9th
Yeah.
in the Bundesliga right now through 3 games played. Dortmund's in second behind Monaco. I'm taking PSG. And
right.
how do you get so lucky? I can't remember if we've talked about this on the podcast or not. You kept Kylian Mbappe, you bought Kolo Muani, and you get Gonzalo Ramos.
Yeah.
And it's like suddenly PSG aren't in trouble anymore like we thought.
Yeah.
And that's really going to help them out big time.
Yeah, and they still started Marco Asensio at striker in their last match.
That's what you get when the Emir of Qatar runs your team.
Yeah. Like Mbappe on the left, Asensio in the middle, Dembele on the right. What the fuck is that?
What are you doing?
What is Luis Enrique doing?
Brutal.
Couldn't explain
Brutal.
it. So
Got a score prediction?
Man. I'm gonna just 2-0, 2-0 PSG.
I'm gonna go 2-1 PSG.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, and then the final one that we'll talk about here for the Champions League. I just lost my page again because I keep fucking closing all my tabs.
I gotcha. Bayern versus Manchester United. This one's gonna be fucking crazy. Except for the fact that Manchester United is probably I don't even know a dark horse, but actually it's one of my questions. We'll get into it later, but they've been struggling. We already talked about it.
Yeah.
They're going to get their cheeks ran by Bayern Munich.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is what's going to happen.
Agreed. I don't think it goes any other way. Like, Bayern Munich is just so fucking good.
Yeah, Bayern Munich and Bayern Leverkusen are the only 2 teams in the Bundesliga left that have won all 3 games played so far. Harry Kane looks phenomenal.
Yeah.
Bayern looks phenomenal. It looks like Bayern is going to have a lot less trouble winning the Bundesliga this year than last year. They had to win it, I think, on like the last match day.
Yeah,
I think this year it's going to be very different.
agreed. And
Yep.
look, Manchester United, you can run, but you can't hide from Harry Kane.
No, you cannot. Oh man.
Yeah, that's brutal. They're like,
It really
finally, he's
sucks.
fucking gone, and they face him in the first match of the Champions League.
Yeah.
I don't see a world where Bayern Munich loses this match. I'm gonna go Bayern 3-0.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Bayern is the type of team that can, I think, expose any weak team. No matter how good the weak team is,
Yeah,
they can expose.
agreed. Let's see other matchups here for the Champions League. We got a few other like pretty good ones that we just left off. But we have Young Boys versus Leipzig, Shakhtar Donetsk versus Porto, Man City versus Red Star Belgrade, Lazio versus Atletico Madrid, which is one I thought about putting on the prep sheet. Barcelona versus Antwerp, which is going to be brutal. Feyenoord versus Celtic, which is a pretty good matchup. Real Madrid versus Union Berlin, which in my mind I was like, that might be close. And then I remembered that Jude Bellingham is just the greatest player on the face of the earth right now.
Literally.
Galatasaray Copenhagen, Benfica Salzburg, Braga Napoli, Arsenal PSV, Sevilla versus Lens, and Real Sociedad versus Inter. And then I believe we get like a 2-week break, and then we come back to it.
So before we wrap up UCL and go into our questions, I have a UCL question for you.
Okay.
Kind of looking at the group stage when I was taking the notes for this episode, I kind of realized that Manchester United, I think out of all the big teams, I could see Manchester United not going through the group stage.
I agree. Their group is tough. Like it's
It
not
is.
an easy group. Galatasaray is very good. They're on very good form.
I guess I didn't even ask you a question. I mean, what do you think? Do you think Manchester United could, not make it through potentially?
Maybe Galatasaray is very good. I don't see Copenhagen moving on.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's gonna be tough because like I have a feeling Bayern just sweeps this group.
Yeah, easily.
Maybe they draw like 1 or 2, and that could be a game changer for qualification going on. But if a team were to draw them, it'd probably be Manchester United if they have a good day. Because like if Manchester United has a good day, they can contend with Bayern.
I think my hot take for this episode, Bayern will have more trouble away in Turkey playing Galatasaray than they will Manchester United in both legs.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know who's gonna move on other than Bayern. I have to see how Manchester United looks when it comes to like the games against like Copenhagen and Galatasaray. How good are they actually gonna look?
That's a good point. Yeah.
Nonetheless, let's get into the questions. It is questions time.
Sir.
Let's fucking do it. Who wants to start? What do you think? Yo,
I
hold
want to
on, hold
start
on.
because
We're on camera. We can play rock paper scissors.
Oh, can we?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess we can. Yeah, shit.
All right. Rock. Wait, hold on.
Oh, wait, hey,
I'm gonna
whoa,
let you
whoa,
count
whoa.
it in. I'm gonna let you count it in.
All right. Rock, paper, scissor, shoot. And then we're off camera.
Fuck.
I had scissors,
Paper.
but
Okay, you won. All right.
All right, I'll go first. So
Okay.
here we go. Do you want a Brock Purdy question or a Zach Wilson question?
I love Brock Purdy.
So I can't remember the dude's name, and I couldn't find the video for the life of me. But he was, going after Brock Purdy after the win versus the Steelers. And you might be saying to yourself, they put up 30. Why would you go after Brock Purdy? Well, he made a pretty good point, and I'm not saying that I agree or disagree. I just want to bring up this point to you. Is Brock Purdy an elite quarterback?
No.
Or could a quarterback like Garoppolo or Derek Carr or anybody kind of in that realm do the exact same thing that he's doing?
No and no. Brock Purdy is not an elite quarterback, but those two quarterbacks that you just named couldn't do it either. And it's because Brock Purdy has the humble, like, he's humble. He doesn't have this crazy ego that makes him want to make these crazy decisions, look flashy on the field, make these big plays. Jimmy Garoppolo wants to show out. Derek Carr wants to make these big, deep passes. Brock Purdy wants to win football games. That seems very apparent. And if you look at the other two guys, they don't have a good history of doing that.
Yep.
So, no, he's not an elite quarterback. He's just so good at playing his role. Whereas other people in the past, for the 49ers even, mainly Jimmy Garoppolo, aren't good at playing their role because they actually make mistakes. Brock Purdy doesn't make mistakes. It's crazy that like I can even come on here and say that with confidence. He doesn't make mistakes.
Yeah, I agree.
So, yeah, it's just kind of in short, like, no, he's not an elite quarterback, but I don't think there's a ton of quarterbacks that could do his job.
Fair. I like that answer. It's a good one.
All right. Well, we'll ask you this one. Heading into week 2 of the NFL season, what player that maybe had a down week last week are you looking forward to seeing bounce back?
George Pickens.
Yes.
That is exactly where my mind went to. You got Deontay Johnson. Oh, that's something we didn't talk about.
Yeah.
How is it that the NFL gods are going to let my team lose 30-7 and have Cameron Hayward out for 8 weeks and Deontay Johnson out for 4 weeks?
Yeah, that fucking sucks.
Time to be a Steelers fan. But George Pickens was, obviously I think he was seen on the sideline. I don't know if you saw the video, but I think his lips read, "I like it here, but this shit ain't it," or something like that. It's not it, George Pickens. And that kind of negative energy, I think, is what he thrives off of,
Yeah.
Grayson. And
He's a
we're
demon.
gonna see a different George Pickens against the Browns. He loves the AFC North. He likes being mean. And boy, does he love making crazy catches against the Browns. It's George Pickens, baby.
All right. I love that. Love that
Yep.
answer. All right, MLB.
So it came out earlier this week, and I know I sent it to you that the Angels were, exploring maybe trading Mike Trout.
Yeah.
Should they?
Yeah, I think they should. Me and
Why is
Colin
that?
actually talked about this and where we want him to land on Wednesday's
perfect.
episode. So, but in my eyes, the Angels can't start a rebuild if Mike Trout is on the books, and he's on the books till 2030. And you can't start a rebuild without getting rid of Anthony Rendon. There's and then Shohei Ohtani as well. Shohei's going to leave in the summer. Mike Trout and Rendon, got to get rid of them within the next 2 years. It's too long to wait before rebuilding such a fucking horrible franchise. The problem is, how good is their GM or president of baseball operations going to formulate a trade to get them prospects? Because that is what they need. They don't need immediate talent in the MLB because you can't turn them into what you need. They're just going to be what they are. And their track record, they're not going to be what they are. They're going to be worse than what they are. Stop going out and getting these players that already have multiple years under their belt. Yeah, maybe it's not a gamble when you go and pick these guys up. But if you've got a guy in your farm system that you can just garner and take your time with and make him be good, that gives you a world of difference when it comes down to it. The trade that I love that Colin recommended was the Red Sox.
Oh, wow.
And I don't know how possible it is to really do what he had said, because his reasoning was like he wants Adam Duvall back on the Braves, so he wants them to trade Duvall to the Braves for prospects and then package the prospects that we send them and some of their own for Mike Trout.
Oh, wow. Colin, the mastermind.
Yeah, he was thinking. But I love the Red Sox one. I think with how the Angels are, they'll probably take 2 or 3, probably 3 prospects, 2 major league guys, 1 pitcher, 1 outfielder. And I think the guy that kind of ties it all together is Alex Verdugo. Alex Verdugo will be the big name in the trade. Then they're going to add like a young pitcher, maybe a Brian Bayo, maybe somebody not quite as good that's already in the league, and then just package in a couple of kind of high up prospects in their farm system.
I like it. I like it.
All right, my baseball question to you is, what do you consider Garrett Cole's pitching generation? We talk about this a lot, especially with Scherzer, Verlander, and Kershaw. But Cole started like 5 years after all of these guys, making his debut in 2013. So who are the guys that you kind of group in with Garrett Cole?
Oh wow. Um, Dylan Cease.
I think he's a little too young.
Is he too young?
I think he made his debut in like 2019, 2020.
Dang, that's a really good question. Because it is a weird era of pitching. I feel like
Yeah.
you have a lot of like, eras in the 90s where it's, your Clemens and your Pedro Martinez, and then early 2000s with Scherzer and Verlander and those guys.
Yeah.
Garrett Cole, like it is kind of hard to put a finger on the other guys that are kind of with him.
Yeah.
Because I feel like they're either too old or they're just starting out. They're young.
Yeah. I think when I was kind of doing a little bit of research, best guy I could come up with, Jake Arrieta, kind of fit in that. When he was with the Cubs, like he made his debut in 2010, but like he's already retired.
Yeah.
And then another one that I was thinking of was Corey Kluber. I think he also kind of fits in that range. He made his debut in 2011.
Even in those two guys have not done anything near the consistency and the longevity that Garrett Cole's done it.
Definitely not.
You gave me a trick question. That was mean.
No, it's just very hard to figure out because not a lot of like elite pitchers in the league right now came up at that time. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah,
maybe is Christian Javier too young? Like Framer Valdez or those guys?
They're both too young. And like Shane Bieber is probably like on the far end of it.
Shane Bieber,
probably too young.
Yeah.
He debuted in 2018. That's 5 years after Cole. So,
wow,
it's tough. Like I sat here and thought about this because this one came directly from Reddit.
Okay.
And I sat here and thought about it. Could not come up with a single thing. A couple of people had said Kluber, in the comments, but yeah, like I can't think of like high level pitchers that came out at that same time. Like maybe Trevor Bauer.
Yeah, oh, they went to college together.
Yeah.
At UCLA.
Yeah, he made his debut just a year before. So I think Trevor Bauer is in this generation.
I mean, although Trevor Bauer is killing it in Japan, he's in Japan. Yeah. He's not even in the MLB with Garrett Cole. So even that's kind of like a weird answer to give.
Yeah. It's crazy.
That was a good one.
Yeah, like I genuinely was like mind blown by this question because I was like, I feel like I should have an answer for this.
Yeah, Trevor Bauer would, I guess, have to be the closest one, though, right?
Yeah, I feel like.
Anyway, okay, I need you to like really close your eyes and picture this next question because when I heard it, my brain almost exploded.
All right.
Okay, this is a soccer question. So the location of the World Cup obviously matters because the one in Russia was such a dud. The one in Qatar had just so much controversy, so much bullshit surrounding it. 2014 Brazil, 2010 South Africa. The culture around those World Cups, just based off of the location it was held, just immensely elevated, all the competition, all the atmosphere, right? What if, excuse me, this is a good question,
dying.
dude. I'm dying. Put the World Cup in the Caribbean and have an island hopping World Cup. What do you think about that? That's my question.
I like it. I don't know the logistics of it.
Oh, these countries would be crippled trying to build these stadiums.
So all of those countries are so poor.
Yeah.
That would be the hard part.
It would be a lot to figure out. And of course, you could have more games in like some of the more developed countries.
Yeah.
But to your point, it would be very hard to do.
Dude, trust me. It takes some fucking money to do that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah,
Not
big
not
time.
just like to build all the stadiums and get all the infrastructure, to pay off all the FIFA people that you have to do to get you to pass through that costs a
Yeah,
lot of money.
yeah,
I think I like what the Women's World Cup did. Australia and New Zealand. I think that would
that's
be
pretty.
super cool.
Yeah, I like that idea too.
Yeah. Or one more in like Eastern Asia. I think Japan would be pretty cool. Um
Yeah,
I think
Japan, South Korea.
yeah, you could put them together for sure, but I think Japan probably has enough pull itself.
Very
Um
true.
I'm going to just kind of
Bro,
turn your own question back on you. What do you how do you think the United States or North America, because I think there is games in Canada and Mexico, how do you think that's going to compare to my personal favorite World Cup, the 2014 one in Brazil?
um, it won't because
Okay,
that's my personal
cool.
favorite as well. But I feel like with how America is, just this melting pot of culture, I think it's going to be pretty insanely good as far as
Yeah.
the atmosphere and everything. And our stadiums, you know, sorry, not sorry to the rest of the world, our stadiums are so much cooler than y'all. It's
Yep.
not even funny.
Facts.
Like Minnesota Stadium is shaped like that.
Yeah.
US Bank Stadium is shaped like that. And Mercedes Benz like opens up like a rose and it's all like so cool. Dude, we have the coolest stadiums. Like I said, we have a melting pot of people. There's already a lot of fans of these teams that are going to be here,
Yeah.
right? Um, I feel like maybe you could make the argument America is a lot easier to travel into with, all of our international
Yeah.
airports and everything. So maybe there would be more of a draw, like more people would come. So yeah, I'm very excited, but it won't. Nothing will compare to that 2014 World
Oh,
Cup,
it
man.
was fucking amazing. Not just the soccer, just the whole thing.
Yeah, the music,
Yeah.
everything,
Yeah,
everything.
I think because American culture is very popular, that's going to help. Like that's going to draw people in like promotionally. American culture is super well known, the music, the art, like all that kind of stuff
Yeah,
is the kind of the world leader. So, I think that's definitely going to draw in a crowd. I think just the fact that it's in America draws in a crowd because, yeah, soccer, we haven't been dominant, but everybody knows about us. Everybody knows about the sports culture. Everybody knows about these big stadiums that we play in, and that the U.S. is an emerging team in world soccer. I think that
yeah,
brings a draw to it, unlike some of the others. Like, dude, Qatar, fucking bullshit. We all knew that. Russia,
yeah,
also pretty bullshit.
yeah.
But Brazil is like one of the homelands of like the newest era of soccer and what we know it as. Like
It's
it is
soccer heaven.
yeah, it is genuinely like a piece of the history of the game. And
Yes.
South Africa was such an interesting one because it's a storied history of a very bad connection to European countries, which are, a big part of the World Cup every single time. Like
Yes.
that created this interesting storyline. When it comes to America, I think people are going to be mad that it's here, as in some of the European teams that are like, why should we be respecting America or whatever? But we did the same thing to Qatar, and it was still a pretty big success.
Oh yeah. And we didn't even talk about this. What about like Mexico games in Mexico
Yeah.
for the World Cup?
Oh my god.
Insane.
It's gonna be crazy.
Insane.
The Estadio Azteca is genuinely
Yes.
one of the coolest places ever.
Yeah, I think you've been there. Haven't you seen it?
I haven't been in the stadium. I've been to Mexico City.
Yeah. Okay.
I can
That's
agree. The
cool.
pollution and altitude combination fucking sucks.
Does it actually affect you over there?
Yes.
No way.
Yeah.
So it doesn't just look like a haze, like it
No.
actually
No.
describe that.
It is literally a city encased by mountains, full of industry and
Yeah.
cars and just so much pollution, but it can't go anywhere. It is
Yeah.
so bad, and then it's also at a high altitude.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it
Hmm.
is brutal. A super beautiful place. Crazy, crazy place to go to. I urge you to go get protection. Just put that out there. You're gonna want
Yeah.
protection. Some not good people there. I didn't realize that when I was in 7th grade and went. Looking back on it, the people that were our tour guides that drove us around every single place and we didn't leave the hotel without them, pretty obvious what they were doing. Nonetheless, back to soccer. I still got to ask you your soccer question.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Is Everton actually going to be relegated?
Yeah.
Okay, because
Yeah.
that
I
would
think they're
be,
that bad.
as of right now, they're one of 6 teams to never be relegated in Premier
You
League
know, I think I
history.
remember reading that. Well, Everton fans, I hate to break it to you, but I believe your time is now.
Yeah, they fucking
um,
suck. They are so
they
bad.
both.
The only thing helping them is that Burnley, Luton, and Sheffield United fucking suck and might just go all back down.
Yeah, so Everton's games have looked like a 1-0 loss to Fulham, a 4-0 loss to Aston Villa, a 1-0 loss to Wolves. They didn't even score in their first 3 games.
Yeah.
And then they have a 2-2 draw versus Sheffield United. They haven't even played anybody hard
No.
yet, Grayson. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's gonna be a bad one. But I got something special for you. I put together 2 sports for this question. I shouldn't say another Reddit question I found. And
Okay.
I think this is gonna be an interesting discussion. Um,
Ooh,
which individual season is greater? 2021 Shohei Ohtani or
okay.
2011-2012 Lionel Messi? And I'm gonna lay out the stats for you. So I'm on Shohei Ohtani's baseball reference. Batting stats in 2021. Slash line, a 257 batting average, 372 on base, 592 slugging, 965 OPS. He had 157 OPS plus, 318 total bases. He hit 46 home runs. He led the league in triples with 8. He hit 26 doubles. He had 100 RBIs and 26 stolen bases. Pitching,
Okay.
pitching wise, he was 9 for 2 on the mound, a 3.18 ERA in 23 starts, 130 innings pitched, only gave up 48 runs, only 15 homers, 44 walks, and 156 strikeouts, and had an ERA plus of 141, a whip of 1.090.
So he played well.
He played fantastic on both sides of the ball. Okay.
Yeah. Right.
2011, 2012, Lionel Messi. In all competitions at the club level, he scored 73 goals in 60 games. He also had
Yeah.
30 assists.
God.
That's 103 goals and assists. And that is the most, with 73, the most goals scored in a single season by any player ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, that crushing the best all time by Gerd Muller with 67. Beat it by 6.
Did Messi win any trophies that year? Or are we not talking about trophies
We're
for
not
this?
talking about trophies. We're talking
Okay.
about individual performance.
See, but Shohei has it on both sides of the ball in his
Yeah.
sport. But I didn't hear you say first ever with Shohei. I did hear you say that with Messi. I think I
Okay,
got to go Messi.
there was a lot of first evers for Shohei. I
Okay.
didn't feel like looking all of them up.
Oh, okay. There were just too many.
I was just reading off the baseball reference for Shohei. And then I was just reading off what I looked up for Messi.
Maybe I still go Messi because I feel like he is like an alien with all those stats. Shohei might be the first ever, like you said, with a lot of those as well. But you have players that have played previously that I feel like have been in the ballpark of Shohei, like Babe Ruth.
Kind of.
Well, it's a stretch. A lot of people don't even think Babe Ruth is real.
Well,
But
also, back in the day, they used to count ground rule doubles as home runs
oh,
for his almost, I think his entire career.
oh man, you
I had to put that out there. It's my favorite thing to say.
my brain is shattered right now.
Yeah.
I don't know what to think of this question. Like, I
It's
don't know.
tough. I genuinely, I found this question probably like 12 hours ago. I don't have an answer.
12 hours of thought. Um, no, I don't have one. I mean, they're both
Yeah, it's so hard to
dominant.
compare,
Yeah,
but it's messy. All right.
unbelievable.
All right, guys. I think that does it for us. A
Ooh.
fantastic episode. It looked like your camera held up for a decent amount of the episode. A little glitchy there at the end, but
Yeah, come on. We got it. We got
nothing
it.
wrong. Hey, look, that was a flu game for you. I wouldn't say you put up 45 like Jordan, but still a fantastic
Come on.
performance out of you, Luke.
Do me nice. Do me nice.
And considering it is 12:15 at night, I think we can commend both of us for our performances here. But I can also commend you guys for watching, listening. If you're on YouTube, liking, subscribing, commenting. Yeah, I'm super glad that we're putting these out in video form now on YouTube. I think it creates such a better connection between me and you right there. Creates a great connection between the two of us, the three of us, actually. Because you're sitting here listening to this conversation with me and Luke, or me and Colin. And, yeah, little housekeeping. Colin won't be here next week. So, we've got 2 episodes. 2 episodes with Luke, which now I'm realizing we could have pushed off the Champions League previews to next week. Nonetheless, we're still going to do some college football talk, whether Luke wants to watch it or not. So, we'll definitely be talking college football on Wednesday's episode next week, and kind of just your regularly scheduled program. But Luke's just going to slide right in. Maybe we'll talk a little bit of soccer.
Oh yeah, let's do it. We could do a recap of the Premier League.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you watched Wednesday's episode, me and Colin, but we took an hour and 30 minutes on the NFL recap.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So we're
You guys
reformatting
talk
that. So the idea was that we talk through all of the games, and then that turned into going in depth, because it was supposed to be like in depth on like 3 or 4, and then we just ended up going in depth on every single game.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So for you guys' sake, we will try not to do that again. Because listening to a 2-hour and 45-minute podcast of 2 annoying white guys yelling at you about sports isn't that fun. But
Yeah.
you guys keep coming back for more. We're going to keep giving it to you. So make sure you guys, like I said, like, subscribe, comment on YouTube. Go over to the podcast platform, follow, leave us a rating, 5 stars on Apple and Spotify. And then head over to our Linktree link. It's on all of our socials, on the YouTube. It's everywhere. It's on our Instagrams, our personal Instagrams, everything. You can find that Linktree if you really tried. Actually, you don't even have to try that hard to find that Linktree, but that's going to show you everything we've got. Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and so forth. And then make sure you join the subreddit as well. Like we've said, we'd love for our questions to come from Reddit, but for now, we'll keep writing them ourselves.
Yes.
And yeah, I think that's going to do it for us. Luke, anything for the people?
Texas is back.
Texas
I agree
is
with Colin.
fucking back. All right, guys. We'll see y'all next week. Big weekend in the NFL. College football fucking sucks this weekend, but we'll see you guys next week. Peace.
Peace.